Not as hard as you think. Go to mylocalcustomers.com to see exactly how many searches there are for businesses like yours. If you see that there are a good number of clients searching in our area, you'll also get some suggestions for the best way to get their attention.
Do you think there are a lot of people searching for my business?
There's only one way to find out. Go to mylocalcustomers.com. It's quick, easy, and free.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
South Jersey's play-by-play home for the Eagles,
touchdown!
Sixers, and Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Hump Day Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. I am Josh Hennig hanging out with you for the Power Hour here in the Matt Black Kia Studios. Another edition of Weinberg Wednesday coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. Dave Weinberg, our 97.3 ESPN.com sports columnist, joins me each and every week. Plus, another opportunity for you to qualify for 99 bottles. 2 more qualifiers today. That comes up in about 50 minutes from now. And as always, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. That is the text board. And don't forget your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. So let's get to a couple different things here. I want to start because we'll get to the latest Eagles injury report because there are a couple interesting names on there to keep an eye on as we progress. Because remember, as we talk about each week here on 97.3 ESPN, the injury report in the NFL is a wait and see progression of the week. You learn a lot who is going to play, who's not going to play by seeing how these injury reports play out during the week. The teams give you a little information along the way. But I want to start with the Sixers because Daryl Morey spoke to the media today, and there were a lot of things he said, and I don't have time to go over every single little thing. But there were a couple of items I thought were very interesting because it was obvious that Morey wanted the opportunity to, and I don't mean this in a mean way. I mean this in a genuine way. I think Daryl Morey really wanted to get behind the microphone and put his side of the story out there because there has been a lot of reporting from different corners of the basketball world about what's been going on. You know, Adrian Wojnarowski had his series of events that he talked about on his podcast. Friend of the show, NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson, he put out his narrative of events, and some of those narrative events correlate with what Adrian Wojnarowski said. You have people like Sam Amick from The Athletic, people like Brian Windhorst and Ramona Shelburne. They've all been kind of putting different reports and bits and pieces out there of information. And so I felt like Morey, he wanted to be like, all right, I'm going to say what I need to say, and you guys can kind of do what you want with it. And I thought one of the interesting comments that Morey had was about the situation with Harden. And there were multiple times the reporters, and I thought the Sixers people at the Sixers press conference today actually did a very good job at asking questions. I thought there were some very thoughtful and well put together questions by a lot of people at the press conference today. And one of the answers Morey gave to the questions about his relationship with James Harden was, and people asked him, hey, looking back on everything, how do you feel now? And I thought Morey gave a very interesting answer because remember, Daryl Morey and James Harden were painted as a best buds forever kind of narrative. There were jokes about their relationship for years in the NBA. People like Zach Lowe and Tim McMahon over at ESPN, people like Shams Charania over at The Athletic. Like, these people would literally make jokes about, and not like jokes like to be mean, but like tongue in cheek, like, oh yeah, they're Morey and Harden again, So listening to Morey speak this way about Harden, I thought was a great perspective on the approach that he's taking to the situation. Take a listen. You heard him say, I wish things could have been different. I wish things would have played out differently because of the series of events, the way they played out, that he felt like they didn't get the opportunity to maybe handle it the way that he wanted to handle it. And that's a great insight in how he looks at it, because I think at the end of the day, Daryl Morey, and he said it a couple times during the press conference, that, he has a job to do. He has a job that he is supposed to go out there and do each and every week. And I think one of the things that gets overlooked in a lot of this stuff is the fact that when you are an executive of any sports organization, it's hard for you to have relationships with these people, because if you have to trade them, if you have to cut them, if you have to make a business decision, how does that impact your personal relationship? And I think that is one of the problems for Morey. I think Morey was always kind of like towing that line between, between doing what was best for the team and having this unique relationship with this player. And I think that now that the Sixers have moved on from Harden, it seems like that there's an opportunity for them to do a lot of different things. And Morey wasn't going to give away, any particular details, but I think it was interesting that, he kind of went out of his way to explain, that, look, basically one of the things he said was, once the Harden deal was unavoidable, like we had to trade him, that's where our focus was. And he said multiple times as well at the press conference, and I'll bring up the one cut here, that they were looking for a specific return. And understanding that they wanted a specific return in the trade, that allowed them to just focus on that. Here was Morey talking about how they had a specific number that they wanted, not a number in terms of money, but a number in terms of return. Like, they wanted certain draft picks, they wanted certain players in return, and how another trade this offseason, he felt like validated the Sixers' demands for Harden. Take a listen. Mentions the Drew Holiday trade where he went to Boston. And I think that, understanding where Morey was coming from, saying that, hey, Drew Holiday got the return was this. And he almost felt like, as he said, hey, we realized that there was a number that this player got in return. So as a result of that, we want to get that same kind of number in terms of return on trade. And, depending on who's reporting, you want to believe, all the reporters agree that basically this deal came together over the weekend and leading up to the middle of the night between Monday and Tuesday. And now the deal is done. The Sixers, as they mentioned as well in the press conference, they can focus on basketball now. They don't have to focus on James Harden and his drama anymore. I think that'll benefit everyone. I think the fans are going to be pleasantly surprised. You heard Keith Pompey tell us yesterday here on 97.3 ESPN, Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Wednesday night. When Keith was on yesterday, he talked about, hey, Robert Covington can bring something to the table, right? He talked about how, Rocco is a guy who is going to be a benefit for this team. So when you think about Covington, you think about Marcus Morris. Are these guys superstars? No. But what they're going to do is they're going to help you win games in the regular season and get you to the point where you know exactly what you can get and not get at the trade deadline. 609-403-0973. That is the text board. Also your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Before we get to Weinberg Wednesday with Dave Weinberg, I'd be remiss if I didn't explain to you the Eagles injury report. As I mentioned, we'd like to do that here on Game Night to kind of give you guys an idea of the state of the Eagles roster heading into a game. And Dallas is always one of the more magnified games on the calendar. It's just the way it is, the history of this city and the rivalry that is there. It's more of a fans rivalry than is a team rivalry, because Philadelphia and Dallas are nowhere as close as Philadelphia and the Giants or Philadelphia and Washington. But 3 players did not practice today, and 2 of them are going to be 2 people we're going to keep an eye on this week. Grant Calcaterra, remember, he left the game on Sunday. He is listed as a concussion. And remember, if you have a concussion, that means you have to work through every step of the protocol to even be cleared to play. So there is right now only a 50-50 chance that Calcaterra even plays if he's still in the concussion protocol as of Wednesday. If he's still in the concussion protocol tomorrow, that percentage goes down 50-50 to probably like 40-60. And then each day, 10 less each and after that. Then you got Bradley Roby. Remember, Roby has not played the last couple of weeks with this shoulder issue. It's going to be interesting because Dallas presents specific matchup mismatches, we'll call it, certain issues for a defense like the Eagles, because they do have 3 receivers. Now, do they always use all 3 receivers? No. They run their offense a little like Philadelphia does, in that right now they have one guy with monster numbers, but that the other guys can get their catches too. And so if Roby is not out there, what do they do with Gallup and Cooks? Because CeeDee Lamb is probably going to be shadowed by either Slay or Bradbury. I would assume it's going to be Slay personally, but no Roby means that whoever's going to get the 3rd wide receiver, that's going to be a disadvantage for the Eagles defense. Boston Scott, he is out for personal reasons, so that's obviously a completely separate thing from an actual injury. The 2 news items that came out today as well: Cam Jurgens, his practice window was open today. He was a limited participant at practice with a foot issue. Now, my personal opinion is I don't want Cam Jurgens to play this week. Let him rest, get fully healthy, so he's good to go for after the bye week. But if he is able to play, I'm assuming that is a boost. By the way, the guy who's been playing in his place, Sua Opeta, he was also limited at practice today with a hip issue. Jalen Carter, the good news is he was a full participant at practice, even though he left Sunday's game with a back issue. All right. With your text a little bit later in the hour, Dan EHT and more coming up here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. But coming up next, Dave Weinberg for this week's edition of Weinberg Wednesday. He joins me next here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Maxey for three, and it's good. How about that? The symmetry of Maxey and Embiid is on display again here tonight.
It's Sixers Raptors tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN.
Don't get tricked this October into overpaying for a used vehicle. Get to Matt Black Kia and buy a brand new 2023 Kia Forte LXS, just $19,999. You heard right, a brand new Kia with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty for under $20,000. Why would you buy a used vehicle? Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Black Kia wants to get you released, and it's the only place you can drive with peace of mind with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Plus, you can drive with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days on every new Kia in stock. We want to finance your future, not your past. So come get your new Kia Forte for under $20,000. But when they're gone, they're gone.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
With approved credit, not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details or 888-545-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer expires 11/5/23. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
With Black Friday savings all month long at the Home Depot, you get all the jingle bells and whistles you could wish for with LG appliances. With America's most reliable line of appliances per independent consumer study, you can take holiday doing to holiday done and always be ready to handle last-minute holiday guests. Save up to $900 on select laundry sets with Black Friday savings, including top brands like LG. At the Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Honey, can you swing by the post office and grab some stamps?
Done.
And drop off these packages?
Sure thing, honey.
Oh, and get the tracking info.
Got it.
But you haven't moved.
I know. How great is that?
This holiday season, the Postal Service is closer than ever with convenient ship-from-home services like label printing, free package pickup, and delivery notifications. You can send more holiday joy from the comfort of home. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Ship from home at USPS.com/holidayjoy.
Stand-up comedian and podcaster Tim Dillon takes the stage at Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City on Saturday, May 25th. Known for his podcast, The Tim Dillon Show, and Tim Dillon's Real New York Tour, his unique brand of cultural commentary and satire has made him one of the nation's top comedic voices. Don't miss the hilarious Tim Dillon in Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City on Saturday, May 25th. Tickets on sale now at theoceanac.com. That's theoceanac.com.
The glory and the greatness are only a few days away. The 40th running of the Breeders' Cup World Championships at Santa Anita is finally here. The ultimate racing showdown that every owner, trainer, and jockey around the globe has in their sights. With $31 million in purses and awards, there's a lot at stake. But only the best will claim the coveted title of World Champion. Coverage begins Friday, November 3rd on USA and continues Saturday, November 4th on USA and NBC. Visit breederscup.com to learn more.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Save on stuff you really need and stuff you bought for fun. Stuff you always really wanted this holiday at Amazon. Stuff that is discounted if you're naughty or you're nice. Stuff to buy your grandma who drinks her Chardonnay with ice. Stuff to make you big and strong. Stuff we can't name in this song. Stuff for lawns and decking halls. Save big on stuff at Amazon. Stuff.
This week at Target, you'll find different early Black Friday deals. Get fun deals on the latest tech, toys, and video games, plus smart deals on small appliances, floor care, and so much more. At Target, you'll discover different early Black Friday deals each week. And get what you need for the holidays fast with free drive up or score free shipping when you spend $35 or use your red card at Target.com. Get low prices and early Black Friday deals only at Target. Exclusions apply.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
We'll check back in on text board in just a bit. Of course, Dan, EHC, and others at 609-403-0973. But right now, it's a Weinberg Wednesday, our 97.3 ESPN.com sports columnist. Dave Weinberg is back for another edition. The first day of November here on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, welcome back. How you doing today?
Freezing my butt off, Josh. How are you?
Dave, I have to be honest, because the board was not set properly. I did not hear what you just said, so my bad.
freezing my butt off. How are you?
Well, I'm doing better now that I can hear you. So
okay, good. Yeah.
I was having a moment there. I was like, wait a minute. I know Dave's in. I know I pressed the right button, but nah, it was something.
2 days ago, I was playing golf in shorts and a short sleeve shirt. Now I'm wearing a parka and mittens going outside for crying out loud. It's ridiculous.
I was sweating walking on the boardwalk in Ocean City on Saturday.
Yep.
I mean, you know how it is, Dave. When we get days like that, you can't not go outside. Like you got to get out.
Yep.
You know, it's like it doesn't matter what else you have to do. You're like, put it on pause, hold off. I gotta get some fresh air because I don't know how long it's gonna be here.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. Turns out it lasts up until today or yesterday, I guess, right?
Yeah, yesterday is when it really, at least for me, that's when it really started dipping the weather, and I had to. You know, I had to reconsider my wardrobe all over again. So,
did you have to change your trick or treat costume too, or no?
No, because I don't go out for that holiday. So
Gotcha.
That's one of those things where it's people like you or like, you know, parents and grandparents, you know, you got, you know, kids who want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people like me who don't have kids or grandkids, you know, we just work. So
there you
go. Dave, I wanted to get into this with you because it is Eagles Dallas week. And,
yeah, sure.
You know, for you, I wanted to start with this because obviously, you know, someone who's covered the Eagles for as many years as you did, you know, for you, what does Eagles Dallas mean to you? Because I feel like it means something different to everybody.
It means you're guaranteed something weird is going to happen, or something strange, something unexpected. The fans really get pumped for it. The players not quite as much, I don't think, but still they know it's a big deal too. But yeah, it's it seems like every time they play, something that you never seen before occurs, and it just adds another element of surprise and intrigue to what's one of the best rivalries in the NFL.
It's interesting because I love that you brought up the fact about the players, because you're right. The players. It's weird because, like, especially this group of players, like Micah Parsons talks highly of certain Eagle players, and like Darius Slay is like dropping in his like mentions and stuff. And, you know, today's player is like a different animal. So I'm sure that today's player probably doesn't look at any rivalry the way they used to in certain cases. But, you know, I always felt that the Dallas rivalry was weird, Dave, because it's like Dallas is way far away compared to the Giants in Washington. So it was always felt like it was more of like a rivalry about like respect than it was about actual like, regional or division rivalry.
Yeah, it's not like, Ohio State, Michigan, or, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, Georgia. I mean, those are, geographical and they span generations, those rivalries. And this one, yeah, you kind of do grow up. If you're an Eagles fan, I know a lot of people my age actually grew up hating the Cowboys, and they'll. I have a buddy of mine who plays fantasy football, and he has two rules. He will not draft a Cowboy under any circumstances, and he won't play. He won't play an Eagle if they're playing. Like if he has Eagles on his team, or no, he has people on another team. He won't play them if they're playing the Eagles. And then the other one is he'll never draft a Cowboy, doesn't matter how good they are. So he didn't draft Dak Prescott or Michael Irvin, or no, I don't know if the fantasy football goes back that long, but I mean any Cowboy star you can name, he's never been on this guy's team.
I know fantasy football goes back to the 1980s. I know that much. So
okay, all right.
And I know that I used to work with a guy who used to be the guy who ran his buddy's fantasy football league. Like he was the guy who kept up all the stats and tracked all the numbers and everything for the league. So
the funny part about that, though, is I don't think Cowboys fans feel the same way. At least the ones in Dallas. I mean, the frauds that live in South Jersey, I don't know, but But I mean, if you actually live in Texas, they strangely regard what used to be the Redskins. From what I gather, they regard them as their bigger rival. I guess the Eagles Cowboys are kind of more intense now because both teams are good, and or both teams suck. I guess it's pretty intriguing too. But both teams are generally competitive, and among the tops in the division, so that makes it a little more interesting.
Absolutely. So, Dave, let me ask you this, because going into this game, one of the topics of conversation is Philadelphia has now given up 31 points in both games to Washington, but yet they can slow down the Dolphins, but they can't stop Sam Howell. So, can the Cowboys fall in between? Can the Eagles not allow 31 points to the Cowboys this week?
Yeah, Josh, it's really weird. I mean, you never know what Cowboys team's going to show up. I mean, when they're on, they're as good as anybody. I mean, they put up points in bunches, 40, 45, whatever. I do think they'll probably be able to score on the Eagles, but I think the Eagles will be able to score on them too. So I think it's kind of a high-scoring game. I really haven't made a decision yet who I think is going to win it, because, like I said, it's just like they're so unpredictable. And the Eagles, if they win the Super Bowl, they better give Ron Rivera a ring, because he's handed them 2 wins.
With that being said, how much do you think the Eagles' defensive issues has been continuity? Because I got to think that some of the issues have to be, the injuries and bringing in new guys. And I feel like some of that has to be that, right?
Yeah, it is. They have yet to really form that bond. It looks like linebackers are kind of inconsistent. Like the secondary's been hurt here and there to get guys in and out. Same thing, defensive line now too. Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. They've had trouble getting consistent and developing some sort of chemistry. I haven't watched the Cowboys a ton. I mean, I've watched them obviously, but I'm not getting. They got CeeDee Lamb, they got Dak Prescott. How are they scoring all these points? I mean, that's basically all they got, right?
Well, I mean, they got Tony Pollard still as a running back.
Yeah.
The problem with Dallas is that their defense has been so good in specific games that they've been able to explode for points. And I brought this up earlier today, and I'll bring it up to you. What people don't talk about when it comes to Eagles Dallas is the fact that Dallas's 5 wins are against teams with a 14-24 record. So when you're playing teams that are under 500 for that much of the season and winning games, you're probably beating up on not good teams, and that's probably why you're scoring points.
Right. Yeah, that's probably a factor. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare against Eagles defense. I mean, they've been, like you said, as inconsistent as they've been, they still are able to not dominate games when they're healthy and focused. So and conversely, I'm kind of curious to see how they deal with Micah Parsons. Although seemed like they had a pretty good game plan last year, where they pretty much made him make the decisions whether what he was going to rush or drop back, and then kind of dealt with him accordingly. He almost like went straight at him. So I'm kind of curious if Dallas is going to adjust or if the Eagles are going to just stick with what worked last time.
Talking with Dave Weinberg for this week's edition of Weinberg Wednesday, extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Dave, Jalen Hurts started the year throwing 3 touchdowns in the first 3 games. In the last 5 games, he's thrown 10. Is it fair to say that Jalen Hurts has finally found his groove again?
As a passer, unquestionable, yeah. And it's kind of interesting that he doesn't have to run and still be successful. Everybody, was making the claim that he was this dual threat that had to use his legs to win and all that, but he proved last week that that's not the case. But yeah, he's absolutely. He still makes the bad throw here and there, still makes a mistake here and there, but I kind of helps when you have AJ Brown in your lineup too. I mean, just throw the ball up and he'll go get it, and that helps any quarterback's statistics.
Well, it's interesting because, and I'm not saying they're identical quarterbacks because we all know they're not, but when Josh Allen was second in the MVP voting a couple years ago, he went from 10 interceptions to 15 the next year. And the year after that, he had 18. I'm not saying it's going to happen to Jalen Hurts, but maybe there's something to be said for the fact that after a guy has a great year, the league kind of starts playing them differently, and it creates an opportunity for them to have those turnovers.
Yeah, that's true. He has had quite a few. I got to give him credit though for adjusting. He seems like he's adjusting now too to what they've been trying to do. They seem to be trying to take away his scrambling ability, the RPOs and all this stuff, but he's adjusted and seems just fine with it. Throwing the ball, spreading the ball around to different people, and they have a running game that works very well when they choose to use it. I think they should use it more, but that's just me. But they, there is an adjustment period all the time. Like you said, not anytime you come up with a new idea, a new strategy, a new way of playing, it takes the league a little bit to catch up. But then they always do, and then you gotta adjust from there. And he seems like he's been doing that.
He definitely has been doing it, and I think that for as much as it does frustrate us about the turnovers. Not all the turnovers are on him. I mean, some of the interceptions have been guys not doing their job. And, at some point, I've always said, Dave, football's got to change how we do, some of these things because, we shouldn't ding the quarterback if somebody else makes a mistake. I never understood that. It's like, with like a batter with batting average, you don't give him a credit for a hit or not a hit if he, gets on base for an error. It's not in a bat, right? Or if he's walked, it's not a negative against him get a hit. It just doesn't, it takes off of the number. Or a pitcher with earned run average. They don't get charged for the runs that are from errors. So I don't understand why we ding quarterbacks when other guys make mistakes.
Interesting. That's an interesting view. Yeah, but I mean, how do you can pretty much differentiate between an error or earned run or not earned run, but say an interception bounces off Dallas Goedert's shoulder pads and goes in the hands of an opposing player. I mean, I don't know how you can separate it. Like, well, if it's not an interception, then what is it?
You can call it a turnover instead of an interception. It doesn't go on an interception because it wasn't a clean defensive play.
Well, who determines all this?
Someone who's actually paying attention to the game.
Like the fumble, like the fumble at the goal line. Was that Jalen Hurts' fumble or was it?
That's Hurts' fumble. That's Hurts' fumble.
All right. Okay. All right.
But for example, remember the game when Devonta Smith dropped 2 passes?
Yes.
That should not be incompletions against the completion percentage.
It's not an incompletion. Oh, okay.
No, it's a drop. If it's on the receiver's hands and it's a drop, then that shouldn't be it shouldn't be a negative against the completion percentage.
So if you're 8 for 10 and the 2 incompletions are drops, you're not really 8 for 10. You're just 8 for 8 with 2 drops.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Well, good luck with that, but I don't.
Oh, trust me, I know. I am 1 against a million.
Yeah, you got a lot of free time on your hands, Josh, but that's okay.
Well, it's called being an only child. You talk to yourself a lot, so.
I'm 1 of 3, so I don't know that luxury.
With all that being said, Dave, do the Eagles win on Sunday?
Oh man. This is really tough. I think they're going to split their series. But the Cowboys seem to play better on the road than they do at home for some reason. I reserve the right to change my mind, but right now I think the Cowboys win Sunday.
Which means the Eagles will win. All right, got it. So,
yeah, the way my picks are going, that's probably right. Yeah.
Dave, before I let you go, I did want to ask you because I know you're also a baseball guy.
Oh, sure.
At heart. So how much of the World Series have you actually watched?
Oh, quite a bit. I mean, not all of it, but I've been watching. Yeah, the Rangers really surprised me. I mean, I thought the Diamondbacks, just the way they, the way they've been handling things against the Phillies, obviously, and the Dodgers and what have you. I thought they would put a better showing. Maybe they still will. Like they showed against the Phillies, they're never out of it. So maybe they'll come back. But Rangers have been really impressive to this point. I'll be surprised if the Diamondbacks can come back from this. But I mean, they could. I guess they showed they've done it before. So
I gotta be honest. This is probably the least watched World Series in my entire life.
Really, yeah. Well, you're a Phillies fan, right? So yeah, you're probably down.
I mean, I've watched other World Series. Like I remember, I really enjoyed the Royals Mets World Series because of the pitching in that one. I remember I loved watching 2004 because it was like, are the Red Sox going to make history and finally win the World Series for the first time in over 100 years? Like, for me, I love watching sports because I want to see history sometimes. I'm not watching history of the Diamondbacks and Texas Rangers. I'm watching two teams that, I mean, they started, who was it? Hennig and who was the other pitcher for Arizona? I mean, two nobodies. I mean, baseball is the only sport, Dave, of all the major sports that you could have a team win a championship with 0 star players. Like, it's the most maddening thing for me. And it's like, Mike Trout and all these guys are sitting home. And it's like, I gotta watch, I don't know. I don't even know who some of these guys are. I mean, I only know them because they were playing in the postseason. I was watching them every day up until now. I mean,
yeah.
Like, Adolis Garcia, he's out. So it's like, how did the Rangers win last night? Oh, they just scored a lot of runs. It's like, and then at the end of the game, I was listening to the game on the radio, and the Diamondbacks scored 2 runs in the 9th inning, and they barely mentioned it. Like, they barely acknowledged like that. That's like, even the broadcasters are bored with the game.
Yeah. I will argue. My only counterpoint was the Rangers have never won a World Series, so that's true. That'd be kind of historical if they do that, right? But I get your point. They're not marquee. There's no more big marquee names. I mean, the only reason I know the Diamondbacks because I've watched the Phillies series, every inning of every pitch of every inning. So I kind of get to know the guys a little bit.
Marte, Corbin Carroll, those guys.
Correct. But if I'm with you with the Rangers, I mean, Garcia was the guy I was really paying attention to, and now he's out. So but I mean, I'll still watch tonight, and I'll watch that. What are they at 3-1?
3-1, yeah.
Yeah, well, so they can end it tonight,
how about
right?
this? Let's root for the Rangers to win tonight, so we get history, and we can be done with it.
There you go. Good point.
I mean, why is baseball being played in November anyway? I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's stupid. It really is. Like high school football in August, in my opinion.
I mean, literally the first game of the baseball season was in March, the regular season. And now we could potentially finish the year on November 1st. I mean, there's no reason why it should be that long.
1,000% agree.
See, we found something to agree on. Let's end it there. Dave Weinberg.
There you go.
For Weinberg Wednesday, Extra Point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. He joins me each and every week here on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, I do always appreciate you jumping on. Great stuff today. I'll catch you next week.
My pleasure, Josh. Thanks as always for having me. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Josh Hennig here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle. I see Jonathan on the messages. We'll get to his message as well as others coming up on the other side. Texts are out there, 609-403-0973. I see Richard Navillis also chiming in. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Don't forget, it's free thanks to First Bank of Seattle.
Today on ESPN Radio, fresh off their 10th straight postseason win on the road, The Texas Rangers sit one win from the World Series title. Can the Diamondbacks survive a must-win?
Gone. Oh, boy. Seager absolutely annihilates one.
Game 5 of the World Series. Coverage of the Diamondbacks and Rangers begins today at 7 Eastern with first pitch at 8 Eastern.
Listen to the World Series exclusively on 97.3 ESPN FM.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at Vincenzo's Ristorante in Galloway for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com.
This holiday, the Home Depot is helping you get gifts that keep on giving by making sure they keep on going. Right now, when you buy a select battery kit from Ryobi, Milwaukee, Rigid, DeWalt, or Makita, you get an eligible tool for free. Just pick a brand, pick a battery kit, and get a tool free. Give the gift of more doing this holiday with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid at participating stores and online. One per transaction. Discount taken at checkout. Full eligible tool list in store and online. Valid October 23rd, 2023 through January 28th, 2024.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. This is the lunch rush at your local deli. Orders are flying in. Online, on the phone, and in person.
Order for Nick.
So is it possible that fast internet could help your business outrun the rush? It is with Comcast Business. Up-leveling your speed with gig speed Wi-Fi, powering all your devices, and fast downloads and uploads, powered by the next generation 10G network. With Comcast Business, next level speed isn't just possible, it's happening. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for $39 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $600 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call or go online to learn more. Ends 11/12/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments. New 50 megabits per second internet and security edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires gig internet and compatible router.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Good evening, and welcome to your nightmare.
You thought you were safe and sound until you looked out the window and saw it in the driveway. The creature that's been draining you dry for years, an old friend that had turned into a gas-guzzling monster. It was your old car just sitting there laughing.
AJ, the trade man, has got you covered.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Even if you owe thousands more than your trade's worth, Matt Blatt Nissan wants to get you into a new Nissan with 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 0% financing on every new Nissan in stock. Backed by Matt Blatt's 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Have a job clearing $350 per week? You're virtually approved. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through DMAT. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag at $589 fee. Offers can't be combined. 0% for 36 months. Call 877-289-4700. 888-989-6670 or go to mattblattnissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 11/5/2023. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Attention business owners, this is John Souza, CEO of ERTC.com. The Employee Retention Tax Credit Program provides up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you're confused about the program, stop right now before it's too late. Don't fall for false promises and risk your business. All ERTC companies are not the same. The bottom line, there's no such thing as guaranteed eligibility, and being innovative with tax filings can lead to an audit. At ERTC.com, we won't mislead you to attest to your own eligibility. At ERTC.com, everything is done in-house by expert CPAs, and there's no cost to get started. With the ERTC.com Fast Track Refund Program, you may qualify to get your refund in as soon as 48 hours. Get started today at ERTC.com.
Get your free refund information now. 800-200-3009. 800-200-3009. That's 800-200-3009.
It's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles. Here's a winner, fall football, and Chickies and Pete's mouth-watering snow crab legs. For a limited time, buy one and get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Enjoy the sweet, delicate flavor of snowy white crab meat dressed in our special blend of seasonings and spices. Pair it with an ice-cold draft beer or one of our signature cocktails. Buy one and get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time. Restrictions apply. Chickies and Pete's.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Well, I found at least one person who is on board with me. I'm sure other people as well, but Rich in the Villa says, I'm with you, Josh. Those drops should go against the receivers. Listen, man, it's a simple equation. You know, we got to stop blaming one man for everything. It's a team sport. At some point, Rich in the Villas, you and I, you know, we are walking stride in stride here. You know, it's not, we blame the quarterback for so much in football. It's utterly ridiculous. Like, Jalen Hurts lost the Super Bowl, right? No, his team lost. It's not Jalen Hurts' fault the defense couldn't stop anybody in the second half of that game. It's not Jalen Hurts' fault. It's not Dan Marino's fault. It's not Warren Moon's fault that his defense couldn't hold a massive lead at halftime, and the Buffalo Bills had the greatest comeback at the time in NFL history for Kirk Cousins did with the fight. Although I would still argue the Bills' win over the Oilers come from behind victory is still the greatest victory of all time, even though it statistically is not the greatest deficit overcome anymore because it happened in the postseason. Making a comeback in the playoffs like that, to me, is even a greater accomplishment than the regular season. So I'll still give Frank Wright that captain comeback moniker. But still, with the quarterback, we blame the quarterback for so much that it's like at some point, it's like I said, with a pitcher with an ERA, we don't charge the pitcher the run against his earned run average if there's an error involved. So why do we do that to quarterbacks? Why do we blame them when a receiver drops the ball? Why do we blame them when the ball, hits the receiver's hands, bounces off his face, and goes to the defender's hands? It's not the quarterback's fault. I'm just saying it's just ridiculous that we try to act like the quarterback is just because. Wait, let me recircle this real quick. Just because the quarterback is the most important position in sports doesn't mean that we have to place all the blame for everything that happens to the quarterback in a team on the quarterback. Just saying. Novel concept. Chuck Bednarik is not playing anymore. Guys playing both ways here. Come on. DNEHC chimes in at 609-403-0973. He says, is Maxey a true number 2 to Joel Embiid? The Sixers need to get a number 2 or 3 next to Joe and Maxey. DNEHC, my working theory is that I think Maxey can be a 2. I think Maxey is more than capable of averaging around 28 to 30 points a game for a season. I think the Sixers need is a 3 who offsets what Embiid and Maxey do. As I was talking about last night on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, we had Keith Pompey covers Sixers for the Philadelphia Inquirer, we were talking about the fact that for the Sixers, you cannot have too many guys who do the same skills. So for me, I don't care if it's a 2 or 3 that they get. I just want it to be somebody who doesn't do what Embiid and Maxey do. That's why I love the idea of DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is a completely different skill set and style of basketball player than Embiid and Maxey are. So they won't be stepping on each other's toes. You know, one of the problems with Ben Simmons and Embiid playing together is that you were basically requiring Embiid to be a floor spacer. You're asking a guy who's 7'2" to be a floor spacer because his point guard refused to shoot from the outside. And then with James Harden, the problem is that if him and Maxey were playing together, now you have 2 guys who need the ball in their hands in order to operate. So to me, I think that a guy like DeMar DeRozan, I love the idea of Pascal Siakam for this team. I don't like Zach LaVine for this team. I feel like that he's too duplicitous with Tyrese Maxey. So, yeah, I think that Maxey can be a 2. But if you get a 2 and he becomes a 3, I think Maxey can do that as well. I think Maxey has a little more flexibility than people give him credit for sometimes. Over on the DMs, Jonathan chimes in. He says, one thing the Eagles cannot allow to happen against Dallas is to get behind 14-3 like they did against Washington. You're right about that. Dallas is the better team than Washington. Now, I made the argument a couple days ago, Jonathan, that, Eric Bieniemy now has been the offensive coordinator for teams that scored 38 points, 31 points, and 31 points against the Eagles. So for whatever reason, Eric Bieniemy knows how to play the Eagles. Read into that what you will. Eric Bieniemy against Vic Fangio, when Bieniemy was in Kansas City and Fangio was in Denver, they averaged Kansas City 28 points a game. So Eric Bieniemy knows what to do against this Fangio-style defense. So maybe that's part of the issue with the defense. But at the same time, like you said, Dallas is a better team than Washington. So Dallas is the kind of team that will make your life miserable. They can certainly do that. And I'm not going to dismiss that. I'm not going to deny that. And I'm not going to ignore that. I think that Dallas also has a better pass rush than Washington did. Washington had a great bunch of guys on paper, but not in reality. I think Dallas, they have shown in recent weeks that they have kind of found themselves again defensively. They have become way more consistent of a defensive unit. Now, we know that Philadelphia has been a team in the last couple of years that have found ways to work around another team's strength. Can the Eagles do it this week? We're going to find out. I tend to think, though, this won't be a blowout either way. I think that this game between the Eagles and Dallas, I giving away my pick on a Wednesday, but I tend to think that Eagles and Cowboys this Sunday is going to be one of those games where you are going to be holding on for dear life as you go into the fourth quarter. Not saying they can't pull away in the fourth quarter. But I do think there's something to be said for the fact that I think the Eagles, the great strength that they have is that the Eagles are a team that has found ways to win more often than Dallas has. They have faced a higher level of competition in recent years. Dallas has had a lot of success against mediocre teams. Philadelphia has had to learn to win in different ways. And I think that I don't know if Dallas learned everything they needed to from the Arizona Cardinals loss, whereas I think Philadelphia learned a lot from the Jets loss. And they've learned from the first Washington barely winning in overtime. So I think Philadelphia, in that sense, they have been a team that better evolves. I think Nick Sirianni is a better head coach than Mike McCarthy is as well. Before we get out of here, I do want to let everybody know, for those who didn't hear the news, Hall of Fame college basketball coach Bobby Knight has passed away at the age of 83. He was the coach of the Bobby Knight was the coach of the last American amateur team to win a gold medal in the Olympics. So, Bobby Knight, no longer with us at age 83. All right, you heard the sounder. That means it's your opportunity to qualify for 99 bottles. All you got to do is call 609-573-3776. If you call Sixers, callers 6 and 7. Easy for me to say. There's a lot of 7s and 6s going on here. Callers 6 and 7. You will be qualifiers for the 99 bottles contest. You must be present to win at the Anchorage Tavern in Summers Point the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Mike Yoder Sports Bash will broadcast the full show live from 2 to 6 p.m. that day. 609-573-3776 is numbers. Callers 6 and 7. You are qualified. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great night, everybody.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant. Those choices help to put money back into your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts a spotlight on local restaurants.
Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant, family dining with quality seafood at reasonable prices, just over the bridge in Wildwood. Yuri's.net, Sunday Gravy, with over 30 years of experience cooking in various restaurants and cuisines. Sunday Gravy's chef is excited to present his vision of Sunday Gravy to all their guests. Simple, approachable Italian food they love to cook, eat, and serve. Their caring and committed staff will ensure you have a fantastic experience with them. Molly's Kitchen on Tilton Road in Northfield, offering a delicious assortment of sandwiches, burgers, wraps, and salads. Catering available too. Online at mollyskitchen.restaurant. So many ways to satisfy your appetite at Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant in Wildwood, Sunday Gravy in Linwood, or Molly's Kitchen in Northfield.
Thank you for supporting these great local restaurants from Town Square Media South Jersey.